Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to illuminate a truly paradigm-shifting theory, and honestly, I mean that literally. We are looking at peer-reviewed science suggesting our bodies are not just mechanical machines driven by a chemical soup, but are literally powered, coordinated, and connected by an internal network of light. Now, I know it sounds a bit like science fiction, but by the end of this explainer, you'll see exactly how the latest biophysics research is proving this to be a biological reality.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going from the body's hidden light to DNA as a biological laser, muscles as quantum power plants, our human fiber optic network, the brain's incredible light show, and finally, a totally new biological paradigm.
All right, Section 1, the body's hidden light. Let's dive right in by looking at a massive, fundamental mystery in human biology. For decades, scientists have been scratching their heads over a huge problem. How exactly do trillions of cells instantly coordinate with each other? Traditional chemical signaling, molecules floating around and bumping into physical receptors, it's just way too slow to explain the split-second timing of our bodies. It's what researchers actually used to call a crisis in biophysics. I mean, if chemical signaling is too slow, what is actually orchestrating this incredibly complex coordination in real time?
Well, the missing link turns out to be something called the biophoton. This is a phenomenon of ultra-weak photon emission, or UPE. We're talking about literal particles of light, photons, being generated right inside living biological cells, and because they operate on the electromagnetic spectrum, they carry both energy and information. This is absolutely huge. It proves our cells are actually communicating through a literal electromagnetic light network, providing instant spatial and temporal energy right inside the body.
When you stack up the old, clunky chemical paradigm against this new quantum one, the contrast is just wild. Chemical signaling relies on physical molecules physically bumping into receptors. But electromagnetic signaling, it provides the instant, quantum-speed communication we actually need to stay alive. Inside the unique liquid crystal structures of our bodies, like our structured water and connective tissues, these photons don't just act like normal light. They fuse with electrons to become something called an exciton-polariton. Think of it basically as liquid light, letting information travel instantly at a quantum level without losing a drop of energy.
Moving to Section 2, DNA, the biological laser. Let's zoom way into the micro level and see where this light is actually coming from.
What's super fascinating to see is that DNA acts as way more than just a genetic storage drive. It's practically a biological Wi-Fi router. As you can see, the cell generates these ultra-weak photon emissions, and right at the core of it is your nuclear and mitochondrial DNA. In fact, research shows that at least 75% of this biophotonic activity comes directly from the DNA inside your cells. Crazy, right? So how exactly does this biological laser work? Well, by capturing photons in that state of liquid light, DNA actually freezes time. Because of its unique physical shape, DNA catches photons in what scientists call a cryotrap, right between its strands. This forms an incredibly stable state of matter known as a Bose-Einstein condensate. Then when the DNA unwinds during replication, it activates this emission, shooting out biophotons loaded with precise genetic data to the rest of the cell. It's literally functioning exactly like a highly advanced, information-packed biological laser.
All right, Section 3, muscles as quantum power plants. Because to keep this incredible light show running, the body needs massive energy. And that brings us straight to your muscles. Take a close look at the sheer density of that green mitochondrial network woven through the muscle cells. We usually just think of muscles as what helps us move around, but their unique crystalline structure actually makes them the body's ultimate quantum power plants. Think about it. Muscles make up nearly half of an adult's body weight, and because their actin and myosin molecules are packed with such insane precision that they resemble piezoelectric crystals, they are actually the primary source of electromagnetic generation in your entire body.
It happens through this really elegant sequence of events where basic chemical energy from the food you eat is converted into pure electromagnetic power. First, ATP molecules from your mitochondria hand off chemical energy to the protein chains in your cells. This causes the molecule to vibrate. But because of the specific tension in the biological lattice, that vibration doesn't just fizzle out as heat. Instead, the energy transforms into a highly stable wave of electromagnetic energy called a Davidov soliton. This standing wave then travels continuously through your body, instantly, without losing any energy at all.
Which brings us to Section 4, the human fiber optic network. Now that we have the light and the power, where does it physically travel?
Just like a modern city, the human body relies on a hidden network of cables to physically transmit these light signals. Specifically, we're talking about the myofascial connective tissue and the premovascular system, or PVS. On the left, we have the myofascial lines. These are muscle chains wrapped in a liquid crystal connective tissue that basically act as semiconductor pathways. And on the right is the premovascular system, which is this microscopic network distributed all throughout our connective tissue and organs. This quote from the research hits the nail right on the head. It says the PVS is basically the biological equivalent of a fiber optic internet cable. The body uses an optically dense liquid core, wraps it in a protective collagen cladding, and uses that to bounce photons forward. Just like the fiber optic cables piping internet into your house. The fluid inside the PVS even contains free-floating DNA molecules. Why? Because as the light signal travels down this biological cable, those DNA molecules act like little sensor amplifiers. They emit their own biophotons to correct any signal distortion and boost the transmission along its path. I mean, it is absolutely flawless engineering.
Section 5. The brain's light show. Let's head up to the command center and see how all of this builds into human consciousness.
Inside your brain, densely packed mitochondria are constantly generating biophotons. And get this, your physical skull itself actually acts as a resonance chamber to amplify these standing waves. Every single time a neuron fires, it's exchanging electromagnetic signals. Because the skull fully encases this activity, the electromagnetic waves constantly interact, dampening and amplifying each other. This creates massive resonant frequencies, which is exactly what we commonly refer to as our brain waves.
Think about this staggering density for a second. 20,000 neurons crammed into a single cubic millimeter, continuously firing and exchanging biophotons. This constant light exchange might actually be the fundamental quantum mechanism that generates higher nervous activity and even the concept of the mind. The DNA in our neurons emits highly personalized combinations of biophotons, creating a completely unique electromagnetic field that might just be the biological foundation of our very consciousness and ego. And finally, Section 6, a new paradigm. Let's zoom all the way back out to see the complete picture.
So here's the absolutely crucial point. From the food you digest to the very thoughts you form, everything is connected by a continuous, circulating electromagnetic field of biophoton signaling. Just look at this holistic pathway. You take in food, your digestive system breaks it down. Your cells use it to create ATP. Then, your muscles turn that chemical energy into a quantum electromagnetic wave, and your DNA modulates that wave with vital genetic information. It sends it straight through your fascial fiber optic network to instantly coordinate every single part of your body.
100,000. That is the staggering number of chemical reactions taking place every single second, in every single cell. All of them are precisely guided and launched, not by random molecular bumping, but by this highly organized invisible light network holding everything together in perfect resonance.
As we completely rethink what we know about human metabolism through the lens of quantum biology, we really have to ask ourselves, are we simply a random collection of chemicals, or are we, fundamentally, beings of organized, communicating light? It's a question that forces us to look at health, disease, and consciousness in an entirely new electromagnetic way. Because if our cells are truly powered by light, then how we understand and treat the human body is about to completely change. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep questioning, keep learning, and we'll catch you next time.